Just a bit of who I am, a bit of my background. I was born in Ireland. I moved here in 2001. I'm currently the Vice President of Global Engineering and Project Management at Chobani. By heart and at heart, I'm a controls automation engineer. I've been in automation for 20 plus years. Worked for GEA Automation Ireland. Worked for APV, which was a large engineering company. And slowly I've worked my way down from integration all the way down to now at Chobani for the last 7 going on 8 years. So to just give you a little bit of a background of where I am and where I come from. I've got a lot of slides, but I was told I only have 15 minutes, and usually it takes me 15 minutes to introduce myself, so I'm going to fly through these slides quickly. Again, there's a common theme here about the relationship with IT, and I'll go through some of that as well. Similarities in terms of putting the fists up and the defense comes on. Currently, our CIO moved on to a different position late last year, so our CFO runs IT at this moment in time. And through some of the discussions yesterday, I realized that I need to sit down with him and educate him on level 0, as one put it, or the OT environment and what we can actually do and the power of what we have in the OT world. I mean, all these words, as we say, quote unquote, hype, big data and everything else, at the end of the day, everyone in the plant wants to increase productivity, reduce downtime, increase the KPIs, and we're all about saving money at the end of the day. I mean, I have a massive CapEx budget that we run at Chobani. It's pretty extensive, and it's not the norm. It's not the 5% of the sales. Our founder is a true innovator. He wants to just spend and grow and make new products and new platforms. I'm based in upstate New York. The plant in Twin Falls is the largest yogurt plant in the world, and that is fully automated. Well, when I say fully automated, we've got a lot of robots in there. I think the way of the world is changing in terms of robotics and where it's going to be in 10 to 15 years. We'll see a totally different stream. This gentleman from Intel, I mean, I completely understand that side of it, that when most of our issues come from operators touching things or thinking they know what they're doing and changing things in the field. I've worked on, over my years, I ran a systems integration company in Chicago at 25 engineers, controls engineers working for me in an electrical panel shop. I did many, many different legacy transitions over to modern day technologies. Westinghouse was one of them. It was a massive one. We had to create edge connectors to tie into the same slots in the control logics. As my mother always told me years ago, where there's a will, there's a way. You can do it. You can take old legacy systems and products and bring them into the network. But at the end of the day, for IoT or IIoT, it doesn't matter what it is. You take data, all you have is data. Unless you've got a means to do analytics on that data, it's going nowhere. So, I mean, we've got all these people. I've put in many, many different systems across all the different facilities. Again, unless you've got resources dedicated to it, it doesn't go anywhere. It's taken me 2-3 years for some of the software systems that I've put in to try and get them to take on, and usually it clicks with one person. They go, God, that's great. And then someone gives that guy a promotion, moves him off to another department. Well, everything you've tried to drive and learn with that individual person is gone with that individual. And we as companies fail to not educate and pass on the knowledge to the next individual that comes in line so you can keep that stream and process flowing. We're doing that on a whole load of different initiatives at this moment in time. That was a system. I found an old picture when I was putting these slides together when I did that Westinghouse DCS conversion. With all edge connectors, we'd done a whole FAT on the site, and trying to pull everything together was a pretty phenomenal feat of work. And we worked with a couple of different third-party solutions to create PCB boards that would actually tie into the control logic systems. Now that's a little bit more advanced, and it cost us a lot of money to actually implement that project. I do like the concept of wireless, but for us, wireless hasn't really taken off. I know you've tried wireless in Petronas across the board, but in the dairy platform, we've enough issues with operators manually putting their hands in settings and something else without people taking their cell phones and other stuff on the floor that's impacting the wireless solutions. I think at the end of the day, for a good system and moving legacy systems over, you have to have a robust network within your plant and an OT network. So when I first came, I'll step back, I have another slide after this. I mean, the same architecture that you see in the plant, level 0 down the bottom in the box, and then the relationship between IT and OT, it's getting better. It really is getting better over the years. I mean, this is what IT think about that box at the bottom, you know? And that's no disrespect to anybody that might be in the room. You know, I think Ray spoke yesterday about XP operating systems on the floor. IT of today and the technology and the software and where it's going, the OT environment will never catch up with that. It's always going to be a lag behind it. I agree with taking the XP boxes because some of the software systems that we use, whether it's Wonderware, whether it's GE, whether it's something else, unless you're ready to invest an awful lot of money to move that platform forward, you're going to be stuck on that OS environment that you're in. And again, we too have the IT people that come into the plant. And when I first joined the company, actually, and some people who have seen me speak before, I use this slide all the time. On the right-hand side, I was 2 weeks in Chobani back in 2011, and I was asked to go and land some of coppers that were after been pulled for a project that a systems integrator had done. And I was with the IT guy who ran and managed all the PLCs at that time. I said, no, I'm only started. I'll follow you. And I walk in, he takes a little stick, excuse me, pulls that stick, and he's reaching in with the end of the RJ45, trying to reach into the one of the empty ports. I was like, what are you doing? He says, well, if I touch any of the cables, I might shut down the plant. I said, don't be ridiculous. I was like, give me the cable. And I reached in and moved some cables, and I saw everything shut off. The whole plant shut down. And I realized, yeah, he says, you shouldn't have done that. And so our owner, Hamdi Ulakaya, was none too impressed. It was the only plant we had. It was running 24/7, punching 2.4 million cases of yogurt out a week out of the plant. And I shut the whole place down. I looked in, everything was corroded. And this IT guy even picked up like a needle nose, parrot nose pliers, as we called it in Ireland, put a little one of those ear cleaners on it and sprayed a bit of contact spray, and he reached in trying to clean. I was like, what are you doing, man? I thought maybe this was some new technology, some way I'd never seen in the IT world, but this was the IT guy, and I looked in and all the switches were corroded. And I went to the owner and said, listen, we're going to take this down. We're going to separate OT and IT. I says, we're going to keep the OT plant running, and if IT want to do any upgrades or anything else that they want, they can go and do their software upgrades, do their switch upgrades. On that one system it was probably 3 of these panels in the plant at the time, but we had VLAN 1, and the whole process system was run on VLAN 1 off a whole lot of different ports scattered all over the place. So I came in, I put in a Hirschman Hyperring network, and literally laid it out simple, clean, no bird's nests on the front of the system. We really need to stick to our solution providers as well. It was a key thing for us. Not one solution provider can give us everything that we need today. We're a Rockwell house from a PLC standpoint, but we've got Wonderware, we've got Ignition, we've really taken Ignition to a new level. We'll show you a few slides on that. But you really need to stick with the different systems that you have and make sure you've got a robust Ethernet network in there that's ready to withstand this onboard of big data and what's going to hit us. We talk about billions and billions of points of data a day trying to go from the plant floor through to the executive level. We used Ignition as an OT operating system, not just a HMI platform on the floor. So we took it to a new level. In some sense, we're empowering the IT department to come to us, which I'll show you a couple of quick projects that we did. And at the same time, we're empowering people on the plant floor to see the data and be able to report back to us of what it is. In South Edmundston, or our New York facility, we have, and it's still a real old plant. Chobani grew so quickly. We had, so we had 1 or 2 separators in the plant, and Hamdi realized, well, hey, yogurt's growing so fast, we need to expand this. I need more separators. Well, the systems integrator that wasn't there didn't have a plan or architecture, or probably had never come across a project like this where it's expanding, and didn't have the ability to say, okay, listen, hold on, guys. We're not just going to add another module, and then let's look to the future. Let's plan it like this. So at one stage, when I joined also, we had like 12 TT1s in the plant. Same temperature transmitter. We didn't have a process historian. We were not able to put that together. So I had to come up with an architecture to be able to drag tags in, segregate the plant into area 100, 200, 300, 700 are maturation tanks. So I got 700 tank 1, TT1. But there's a way to do it. I mean, really sticking with the resources that you have. I mean, I talk about the IT-OT relationship. For me today, it's still a battle. I mean, We've gone through a few different CIOs in the company. I'm the controls engineer. I'm like yourself. I've been there. I love the control systems. I love the network of it. I love finding solutions and problems when I've got a legacy device that I want to tie that legacy device into my control system. I don't think there's any system in my plant today that I can't get up to the ERP level today. I hit some brick walls when I try to come in and say, hey, I want the data from ERP to come down to the plant floor, and I'll show you some screens that we did that. But say, listen, I don't want access to your databases. Let's just create a central database, and let's move the data. I'll move data into a certain table, and you move your data into another table, and we'll do a read-write communication. And that started to work well. But as people leave, they come in, oh, what's this? You got a database that we're talking to the plant floor? I says, guys, it's the 21st century here, guys. It's 2019. I said, yes, and it's not going to change. And it's a forever changing world that we're in and we're living in with emerging technologies. You know, wireless devices that you can actually put in front of the one of the pressure gauges or temperature gauge and take that data and roll it back up into your system. There's many different ways. The days of DH+, SLIC 503 processors. I mean, I did it from Siemens S5 to S7. I'd taken S7 and taken out S7 and converted it all over to Control Logics over the years. And I did the programming for a lot of that back in the day. Now, if I have to put my hand on a PLC today, there's a bigger problem. And I know it wouldn't go down too well for me. Again, partnering with these systems. Here's just a glimpse of some of the software solution providers that we've put in at our plant in Twin Falls. We use Ignition as an OS system on the plant floor, tying everything together. We've got good solution providers from ICIS. I actually brought this up to our owner recently. I said, yeah, we've got ISIS. You know, and he sort of looked at me with three heads, you know. And then I explained that, yeah, it's a plant energy management solution. So instead of putting in extra metering, we took data within our process historian and used that on the high end using an ICIS plant energy management system. I'll show you some of them as well. We use Seek, we use ZPI. You've got MQTT and Sparkplug with CirrusLink. I mean, there's many different ways today to pull data much quicker and much faster up to your different layers and different levels within your architecture in your plant. So would I say IT and OT communicate seamlessly together on a 24/7? They are. We've got gateways that are talking together. We've got our OT world, we've got our IT world. And we've got data transferring in. We took for our Ignition, for instance, we have an Ignition system running at each of our 3 facilities, New York, Twin Falls, and Melbourne, Australia. And then I put the enterprise system in on the IT side. And that's streaming and talking to everyone. So when we're going to use like Perspective or something else, people can use their cell phones, get the data real time. We've just literally started migrating controls of our HMI, Wonderware systems, Rockwell software systems over to Ignition itself, and it's an ongoing process for us. Where are we at today? I mean, process business intelligence. There's many, many different solution providers that can come to you to offer you solutions on the plant floor within your systems. Fabulous solutions. I think what's very important for us is actually support at the end of the day. Anyone can come in and can offer you a solution. It's been able to get that support after the fact, which is one of the biggest issues for us. Oops, I'll go back here. So I'm just going to push through a whole lot of some different slides that I have to give you an idea of the different types of systems, what we're using. You've got ICIS Plant Energy Management System down the bottom right. I mean, this is taking your process historian and utilizing that to create virtual metering. When I say virtual metering, it's not like taking one meter, another meter, and adding it together. And I've got a direct online motor. My process historian knows when that motor was on and when it was off. I know the nameplate data and the full load amps of it. I can create a virtual meter, call it virtual meter 1, and then put in the full load amps and say, hey, I put a meter on it, I say it's within 90% of it, and then I have that meter running. This system has reduced us. We've probably got 1,500 virtual meters running in the plant in Twin Falls. We've around 860 of them running in New York. You don't have to pay for mechanical installation. You don't have to pay for electrical installation. You don't have downtime in your plant or your facility to get this meter installed. And for as long as you have had your process historian running, I can backfill the data for as many years back as you had it. And so it gives us carbon footprint analysis, not just energy, it's water, We know you've got a watering line. If you want to buy a good flow meter, you're talking probably $10,000 plus the electrical, plus the mechanical installation. We know what the valve is, the control valve. We know the pressure of the line. We know the type of seat in the valve. Through straight calculations, you can calculate the consumption of water through that. So we've got massive totalizers from our CIPs to our wastewater across all the different facilities. This slide, unfortunately, didn't come out. I had a nice slide where you had a MQTT and using Sparkplug as a middleware system to get data real easy and real effective. We've just embarked on that, and we're doing some trials in our plant in New York, and I really see this taking off. Oh, it's coming together. There we go. That's quick. Go back. So here you've got MQTT server. You're pulling everything in on different sides. So we're taking a couple of different approaches. I'm looking to take data and move data faster through the facility, because at the end of the day, people are looking for data real time. They're looking from their fingertips up at the high level. They're looking, people on the shop floor are trying to see how they're doing on the floor, how they're actually working. This is a dashboard that we built within our ignition system. So again, it's more of an operating system. We give access to people on the floors, and every one of our packaging lines has slightly modified version of this, but the main dashboard, people can see this. People in corporate can see all this dashboard. They can see how the plants are running, how they're performing. The ERP data is coming down to the plant floor and really taking us to a new level. All our energy management systems, we tied them all in. You can seamlessly put everything together. The word legacy is really not a word to say that things are unachievable. You can do it if you really want to do it. And there's many different ways to go about it. I'm going to jump through some of these so I don't hold up time. And then I'll show you this. This is like our plant energy management system. At the end of the day, I'm going to jump because I've only got a minute. See, I mean, these systems are all online on our systems. This here, we've just embarked on a real sustainability program using this, and we're empowering people on the plant floor to use the software system that's there on our system to really bring KPIs and bring energy savings projects to us, whether it's power, water, or anything else. And there's no secret formula to IT/OT convergence or manufacturing automation success, but rather a dedication to methods, processes, and excellence that keeps us sharing our visions, failures, and successes to create a great product and end result. Where there's a will, there's a way, guys. We can do it. I'm happy to talk to anybody if they want to have a chat afterwards. Thanks, guys.